the 1970s, punks had tried to shake the rock establishment from what they saw as its apathy.
Ever get the feeling you've been cheated? Born in the USA, I was born in the USA, I was born in the USA.
But by the beginning of the 80s, mainstream rock and roll was bigger than ever, filling arenas the world over with classic rock sounds and heavy metal power. And much black music, too, had become more stadium-oriented, built around lavish, expensive productions.
Oh, don't make me do that. Oh, I don't want to dance.
But there were new, sparse sounds coming from the mean streets of the Bronx. Rappers and DJs armed only with turntables and microphones were creating a powerful new music. And in urban dance clubs, computers and cutting-edge electronics made the DJ the star of the show, changing the rules as rock and roll entered the 1990s.
Looking for the perfect beat, searching for the perfect beat, looking for the perfect beat, seeking for the perfect beat. I must get mine, I'm about to get it. I must get mine, I'm about to get it. Now in this world of music, there are many different tones. Tell them if it's no satisfaction, just take for some action. Listen now, listen now.
You are loving us now, but you may change, but I will never.
The roots of rap music can be traced to the island of Jamaica, 1,000 miles from the Bronx.
Now come on down and let I know that you love my soul, and maybe that you never let I go. You can be so and so, so baby say so. See, you got to be on
DJs of Kingston had a long-held tradition of talking and singing over the heavy bass and drum rhythms of reggae recordings. And in the late 70s, that style was introduced to New York City by a Jamaican immigrant, DJ Kool Herc. Herc's dance parties became famous across the Bronx. He used 2 turntables, switching back and forth between the most propulsive, danceable sounds. One of his disciples was young Bronx DJ Joseph Sadler, who later became known as Grandmaster Flash. Flash was one of the first of a new breed, the disc jockey as artist, with the power to create as well as play hits.
I would say I took an arrangement that was on wax and rearranged it. I took the particular pieces and parts and passages that I felt would keep the crowd in a frenzy. I guess I was just one big human sampler, so to speak. Once I was able to do that, I was able to start learning what I later called the acrobatics of doing the things that I did on the turntable, which meant drop the record at the break part, push it out to the people, bend over, put it at the same section, and just keep constantly repeating it. You know, wham, 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 wham.
In 1982, Grandmaster Flash and his crew of rappers, the Furious Five, recorded The Message, featuring Melly Mel. Early rap lyrics had dealt mostly with partying, but The Message set a new tone with its chilling account of ghetto life.
Broken glass everywhere, people pissing on the stage, you know they just don't care. I can't take the smell, can't take the noise, got no money to move out, I guess I got no choice. Rats in the front room, roaches in the back, junkies in the alley with the baseball bat. I tried to get away, but I couldn't get far, cause a man with a tow truck repossessed my car. Don't push me, cause I'm close to the edge. I'm trying not to lose my head. It's like a jungle sometimes. It makes me wonder how I keep from going under.
Unlike all the other established genres of music, they're confined, meaning that 8 times out of 10, there had to be a melody, right? And on top of the melody, the singer had to sing in a certain key. There was an intro, there was a chorus, there was a bridge. With hip-hop, that don't matter. You can sing off key. Our subject matters that we can talk about are almost unlimited. Musically speaking, we can take a piece of Frank Sinatra. We can take a piece of Led Zeppelin, a horn blast from James Brown, a horn blast from anywhere. If it's properly strung together, this was hip-hop.
Graffiti art and rap music were part of the Bronx-based subculture called hip-hop. One of its leaders was Africa Bambaataa, who founded Zulu Nation in 1976 as a social and political outlet for kids in the Bronx.
Rap was always here. You know, it was from way back in the time when God talked to Adam, Moses, all the prophets, he was rapping to them. When you have the Caesar and all them, when they ended talking about "Thou art forsaken me" and stuff, they were rhyming in their time. And even when you had Shakespeare and all that, he was rapping and rhyming in his time. So rap was always here.
He's going around saying that he's a championship fighter, but when he meets me, he'll fall 20 pounds lighter. He thinks that he's the real heavyweight champ, but after I'm finished, he'll just be a tramp. Now, I'm not saying this just to be funny, but I'm fighting Ernie because he needs the money.
Long before hip-hop culture permeated the Bronx, speaking in short staccato rhymes had been well established by Cassius Clay in the 1960s and by black radio DJs since the 40s. Now in the 80s, a new style of dancing evolved to accompany the propulsive electronic beat. And competitive breakdancing was encouraged by community leaders like Bambaataa as an alternative to gang violence.
I said a hip hop, the hip to the hip hop. You don't stop the rockin' to the bang bang boogie. Say up jump the boogie to the rhythm of the boogie to beat. Now what you hear is not a test. I'm rapping to the beat.
Before founding Zulu Nation, Bambaataa had himself been a lieutenant in a notorious Bronx street gang, the Black Spades. Now with his focus on the community, he became an influential DJ with an ear for new and different sounds. Kraftwerk was a German group that experimented with electronic sounds during the mid-70s. At that time, they had been considered a novelty act. Now their music found an unexpected admirer in the Bronx.
First I want to know who was these funky white boys from Germany that had this futuristic sound. When I first heard Trans-Europe Express, I mean, I just went crazy and started getting it jammed at every party that we played in the Bronx. And it was the Zulu Nation that pushed the hell out that record that just caught on like hellfire with the black and Latino community. And I thought this would be the music for the future. So once I got into Trans-Europe Express, I started digging up a lot of other Kraftwerk records like Robots, Autobahn. So I looked around and started saying, I don't see no black electronic groups. So when Kraftwerk came out with Numbers, I said, yeah, that's where the electro-funk would come.
Taking inspiration from Kraftwerk, Bambaataa created Planet Rock, which would provide a blueprint for a whole new musical movement, electro-funk. Street rhymes and attitudes, combined with electronic rhythms and textures. The track was created with the help of a young producer.
It's hard for me to imagine music before Planet Rock, actually. When I moved to New York and started hanging out with Bam, Trans-Europe Express was really one of his favorite records. And I think some of the reasons why, it was a drum machine. No rock groups and no soul groups really were using drum machines at that time. So the beat was really steady, they could mix to it, and it was an interesting sound. I mean, it was a really different sound.
This record made my job easier. This record allowed me to go to the bathroom. This record allowed me to go get a soda. I can play it from and just go take a walk because it was funky. It didn't make sense to cut this record, to be DJing it. It DJ'd itself.
As rap and hip-hop took off with black listeners, the music caught the attention of white rock acts.
Fab Five Freddy told me everybody's fly. DJ spinning, I said, my, flash is fast, flash is cool, Francois, c'est pas, flash ain't no do, and you don't stop.
I really had never really written a rap, and I wasn't an experienced rapper, and it was so exciting. It really was part of that tradition of, you know, something new and something strange, and wow, this is really, nobody does this. This is really wild, and this is great, and it's very underground, and it's very hip, and it's, you know, it's really happening. And the shows, or the, I don't know what you would call them, the rap events or whatever, they were really sort of forbidden, and you know, mostly black kids would go, and it was just like, just wild, and everybody would get up there and just start, you know, yelling out their shit. And it was good.
I thought it was quite weird, but cute for Blondie to for example, you know, on the song Rapture. I mean, to this day, I don't know what she was talking about, but it was just cool just for her to make the attempt and do what she did for the record. It was quite a compliment to me to know that this particular style of music, which was new then, touched another race of people. This was great.
In the wake of Planet Rock, electronic dance music found an eager audience in urban clubs, especially gay clubs, where cutting-edge dance music was always welcome. The vibrant New York club scene soon caught the attention of a rock band from Manchester, England, who owned a dance club themselves. The group, New Order, began to combine the excitement of the dance floor with live performance.
Most bands were placing an emphasis on guitars, and we thought we'd try and do something new and place the emphasis on the drums. If we did innovate in any area specifically, I would say it was taking this kind of electronic dance groove music out onto the stage and playing it live.
How does it feel when you treat me like you do? And you laid your hands upon me and told me who you are.
The desk that we wrote Blue Monday on, which was everyone considers to be like a technological revolution as a song, Blue Monday. It was the oldest desk I've ever seen in my life, and everything was done by hand on it. Everything, it was absolute murder. And I always remember one really nice thing was, which we were really flattered about, was that Kraftwerk booked in to Britannia Row to do their song to try and rip off Blue Monday. I think they were mortified when they saw the desk.
To say what I need to say.
Blue Monday was sold only as a 12-inch single, causing resistance from radio. But the disc sold 3 million worldwide and established the 12-inch as the format for recorded dance music in the 80s.
They came over to New York. I took them out to a small demo studio in Brooklyn. And we, you know, as they tell it, I just like stood over them waiting for them to do something. I don't really remember it that way, but that's the way they tell it, that I was like sort of intimidating their creativity. But I don't think anyone can intimidate those guys.
We were expecting Arthur Baker to be like this really big flash producer who knew exactly what he was doing, and we were very nervous. And I think Arthur Baker expected this really flash band who knew what they were doing. And I remember sitting in this guy's house in the Bronx in New York for hours, just looking at each other, just scared to death, thinking, what the hell are we going to do? And we were just jamming, and it was like, oh God, because it was the first time we'd ever gone in the studio without the track written.
So we went in basically and did 2 tracks. We came up with some stuff, and we did Confusion and the track that became Thieves Like Us, which, you know, I just gave them the multi of Thieves Like Us, and I finished Confusion.
I brought the Roland 808 and my backward sounds, which was sort of the hip-hop thing at the time, the Funhouse sound. New Order brought the bass, the Pro 1, which we also used for the sequence. I brought the hand claps. They brought the guitar. They brought the melody. I brought the chant. And I brought the beat. We put it together and it sounded like this.
I always remember the really amazing thing. We finished the session and he took the tape off the reel and took it to the Funhouse, which was this mad club in New York, great place, and actually put it on and played it. Normally, whenever you finish doing something, you don't get the buzz of hearing it anywhere else for months and months, and by that time you've sort of lost it. And to actually, for him to take it out and play it was amazing.
In 1983, another artist emerged from the urban dance club scene and began to attract a young rock audience. Madonna became the first of many women in the 80s to take control of her musical and business careers.
What Madonna built on, to a certain extent, was the music that was coming out of the black clubs in New York. When we put out the first 12-inch, Madonna sounded so black on that record, and we didn't want to risk, the potential of the black market, buying the record. That we made a decision not to put her picture on the sleeve.
If at first her record company pretended Madonna was black, it was an illusion that became impossible to maintain with the growth of a new development in rock and roll.
You are about to participate in a cable adventure which reaches from the outer limits to your inner sanctum. You are experiencing the sight and sound of MTV. Music television.
When MTV started broadcasting rock videos in 1981, it revolutionized the way music was marketed. Although the new medium lent itself perfectly to dance videos, at first, MTV refused to show any black acts at all. When CBS insisted they play Michael Jackson or forfeit the use of CBS's white artists, MTV capitulated, and Jackson became a worldwide star. Showing Michael Jackson was one thing, but hardcore rap was quite another.
You ain't gonna believe this place.
Word.
I'm telling you, come on, you gonna bug.
Hey, this is a rock and roll museum. You guys don't belong in here.
I'm the king of rock, there is none higher. Sucker MCs should call me sire. To burn my kingdom, you must choose fire. I won't stop rocking till I retire.
Now we rock dark parties and come correct. All cuts are on time and rhymes connect. Got the right to vote and we'll elect. And other rappers can't stand us, but give us respect.
With their stripped-down sound and their 808 drum machine, Run DMC signaled a new era of tough, minimalist rap.
The reason why Run DMC used the rock guitar on our records was because before rap records was made, before we was even rapping in the studio and going to make records, we used to have to find records to rock over. And being the type of rappers that we were, we didn't like rapping over anything that was soft or watered down. So we had to find big beats and loud, loud sounds that were just as massive and awesome as we were when we was attacking the microphone.
It's not Michael Jackson, and this is not Thriller. It's one deaf rapper, I know I can hang. I'm run from Run DMC, like Hooper Cool in the gang. Roll to the rock to the roll. DMC stands for devastated mind control.
We would wear street clothes, use the street music and the old school flavor with the echo chambers and make it feel like it's straight out of 1970s in the park, and did it raw.
Every jam we play, we break 2 needles. There's 3 of us, but we're not the Beatles. My name is Darryl. You can call him D. You can call me Darryl Mack. Or you can call him DMC. People always ask DMC, what does it mean? D's for never dirty, MC for mostly clean.
The reluctance of major record labels to sign rap acts left the market wide open for a new kind of street entrepreneur. Def Jam Records was formed to fill that void by Russell Simmons and Rick Rubin.
I met Russell Simmons at a party, and he was surprised that I was white because I had produced a record that he really liked a lot. And there weren't any white people really involved in rap music at that time.
I had produced the first 2 Run DMC records. He loved them. He produced that It's Yours record, was my favorite record, So we just started working together. It had nothing to do with like color or anything, I mean, he definitely knew about things I didn't know anything about. And I knew about things he didn't know nothing about. And I guess that worked for both of us, I got to listen to some rock records I would never have heard at that time. And there were classics and stuff I didn't even know. I lived in a vacuum, and so, and he did too about black music, but not about rap music because he was a fan, So we made a deal and we became partners. And we took Def Jam to Sony.
We'd finished the whole Run DMC album, and I thought it would be nice to have a cover song on it, as there'd been no rap artist had done any real cover songs to date. And I looked through my record collection and found Walk This Way, and the guys in the group were familiar with it. They thought the group that recorded it was called Toys in the Attic because that was the name of the Aerosmith album that it was on. And they used to just play the first 4 bars of the beat, and they used to rap over it, so they were familiar with the beat.
Run DMC's remake of Aerosmith's hit, Walk This Way, made rap more accessible to white rock fans.
Rick Rubin said, no, let's call this group, let's pull them up out of the wherever they're at and make the record over. I think it's a cool idea. We agreed. We don't know why we agreed, but
you had to learn the lyrics. Me and Run had to sit there with the record and go in the basement and learn the lyrics. Couldn't understand it, crying. Are you sure you don't want us to do this? Yes, go back and learn them. So we learned them, and Steve and Joe flew in, and we was all in the studio, MTV came and Jam Master Jay got on the turntables and showed them what we used to do with their record in the parks. And it was like, wow, when am I going to sing? No, you don't get to sing, Steve. But then we did the record and it blew up.
There's a backseat lover that's always undercover, and I talk to my daddy, say, send your AC, nothing, you down on a muppet, and it's sure to be a changing way.
Making Walk This Way wasn't a problem. They were rapping over Walk This Way all their lives. But Run DMC went and said, we're just going to have a drum beat here. We're finished. I'm going home. I said, well, what about the bass line? I said, well, what about a bass line? That's for those other artists. We don't need them. We never needed them anyway, We usually cut the beats over our records, you know what I mean? Let's just go use a turntable, make a record. We ain't messing with no musicians today.
I remember when Walk This Way first came out, the new music station in Boston put it on, and Aerosmith is from Boston. And they put on the record, and they got so many hate calls, saying this is like sacrilegious. This is Aerosmith's town, and you're playing this, rap version, and it wasn't really. I mean, it was and it wasn't. If you listen to it, it's not that different, honestly. But I guess being as Run DMC were black, and being as Boston is the town that it is, a black artist doing an Aerosmith song in Boston just was not right. And so they took it off the air because they got so many hate calls. And by the end of the week of them not playing it, it became the #1 requested song on the station. So they started playing it again, and then it became a hit.
I was a high school loser, never made it with a lady. Till the boy told me something I miss. Then my next door neighbor, I thought I had a favor, and I gave it to the little kids like this.
In 1983, a trio of young upper-middle-class white kids from New York City began adding rap tunes to their hardcore punk repertoire. They called themselves the Beastie Boys, and by 1987 had become the prime movers in popularizing the hip-hop sound for white adolescent America.
When we first came out making hip-hop, people were just like mainly surprised because no white kids were really up on hip-hop or doing it too much. So like, I guess a lot of kids would just check it out and just be surprised to even hear that we were making that kind of music and just be like, what, you guys are white? Like, they would think we were Puerto Rican or something, or just not figure that we were white.
You wake up late for school, man, you don't want to go. You ask your mom, please, but she still says no.
I first met the Beastie Boys actually in a grill, just hanging out, because we were all punk rock people who really loved rap music.
Your teacher preaches class like it's some kind of jerk. You gotta fight for your right to work.
Rick definitely came from like a whole AC/DC, like Led Zeppelin, Long Island, like rock background. That wasn't, that he pretty much, I guess in that sense, kind of introduced us, because we kind of came from like punk rock, like, all right, forget about that shit, you know. We just wanted to, you know, do hip hop, and he kind of definitely brought that kind of in a big way. I mean, definitely we got real into it and got into the idea of like Led Zeppelin having beats, or, you know, AC/DC having grooves and beats or whatever.
They came by my office. They had on red sweatsuits and do-rags. I was like, and red Pumas or something, I think, I don't know. I was like shocked, because that's not the way they looked in Dance Interior. You know, the image was, we're rappers, but don't we look like them? And I saw them perform, and they looked like themselves, and they were on stage. I said, why can't you be the Beastie Boys and be that? And they did. They started not giving a fuck, like their clothes and attitude too, because that's all they were anyways, kids who didn't give a fuck.
Their first album, Licensed to Ill, sold 4 million copies, reaching #1 on the pop chart, #2 on the black music chart, and earning praise from critics. Three Jerks Make a Masterpiece headlined the Village Voice. The Beasties played up their obnoxious image and became a kind of worldwide scourge, like the Sex Pistols had been 10 years earlier.
We read Hammer of the Gods and thought that was funny. Like, yeah, we could do that. We could smash a TV. That'll be sick.
Yeah, or definitely like during the time that we were making License to Ill, I definitely remember like we would be going out to clubs like Danceteria or whatever with like Rick and Russell every night, and to us it was just really funny at the time to kind of be, it was like almost making fun or you know, doing a parody on like that kind of culture, like, oh, wouldn't it be funny if we act like this? And then at a certain point we actually started to act like that.
It's funny, when the Beastie Boys got popular, people were saying to me, oh, you know, they're so obnoxious, and it's like, well, it had nothing to do with them becoming successful. They were obnoxious from the moment I met them.
If the Beastie Boys seemed self-absorbed and bratty on their records, their live show removed all doubt. They were three teenage libidos run rampant.
But we're performers, you know, first, foremost, entertainers.
Just like MC Hammer.
And the show, yeah, and the show is first. It's the utmost for us.
people were really freaked out that all of a sudden, number one, we were having concerts where there were black groups and white groups performing on stage. You had black kids and white kids coming together in a way that they probably never would have for any other group at the time. And then, you know, all of a sudden we were like kind of in the heart of this like kind of Bible Belt conservative
and these
part
kids
of the
saying
country.
the worst things with their foul mouths.
These mad, nutty kids. So, you know, we kind of definitely freaked people out at that point.
And that was when the PMRC was really cool, when they were like right at their strongest peak. 1987, PMRC.
The Parents Music Research Center was formed as a direct response to the increasingly explicit lyrics of rock and rap.
There is a new element of vulgarity, violence, and brutality to women that is unprecedented. While a few outrageous recordings have always existed in the past, the proliferation of songs glorifying rape, sadomasochism, incest, the occult, and suicide by a growing number of bands illustrates this escalating trend that is alarming.
We are asking the recording industry to voluntarily assist parents who are concerned by placing a warning label on music products inappropriate for younger children due to explicit sexual or violent lyrics. We now propose one generic warning label to inform consumers in the marketplace about lyric content.
A lot of it was actually just kind of alienating because really it went so far beyond what even our wildest fantasies ever were of how we could possibly be portrayed or whatever. You know, I mean, so much of, like, say, with the British tabloids went so beyond fact and so far into fiction in terms of, like, you know, me with a little bag of whips.
That was true.
No sleep till Brooklyn!
We happened to come along at the right time of bringing hip-hop to a large number of people that maybe wouldn't have gotten it right then. But if we hadn't come along, there's no question in my mind somebody else would have, or another chain of events would have happened. Hip-hop music or rap music would have reached all those people eventually anyway.
By 1987, rap itself had started to become somewhat predictable, with a gold chain macho stance. But then, out of New York, came Public Enemy with Fight the Power, a rap built around a rhythm track that sampled James Brown's Funky Drummer, and a video directed by Spike Lee.
Public Enemy attitude is a combination of the rock and roll attitude and the rap attitude. It's defiance, and it is defense, but it's also offense, and it's getting your point across.
Public Enemy's producers, who called themselves the Bomb Squad, introduced a dense, sample-heavy sound, using overlapping voices and television and radio sound bites, adding a new level of complexity to rap music.
I think rap has helped rejuvenate rock music because it provides rock music options on the vocal end of it. And what rap music has done, it allowed a person that really couldn't hit the notes as a singer to learn the art of rap and applying it to their particular music in their own way.
Well, Public Enemy was significant for a lot of reasons, you know. I mean, it's like Public Enemy didn't rap about partying, you know. I mean, Run DMC talked about a lot of social issues in a way, and so did a lot of people, but no one got political. Public Enemy talked about the state of black America, and every black kid in America was a public enemy, you know. That sort of helped to create another level of awareness for the rap audience, a lot of people in the rap audience. And it was very significant because it changed the way a lot of people made records.
Here it is, bam! And you say, damn, this is a dope jam. But let's define the term called dope, and you're thinking me funky now, no?
Rap music is sort of like the satellite of black communications now, because a person that's doing a record in South Central could get recognized in Poland.
I don't believe the hype. Yo! I don't keep pumping it. Yo, here we go.
By now, some rap videos were being aired by MTV, but the more political rappers like Public Enemy were still being excluded.
MTV's reluctance was based on ignorance and a misunderstanding of facts. You know, the people that were programming it and conducting it in the early 80s were into their type of music. So that type of show reflected what they were into. The Michael Jackson thing came along and kind of usurped some of their surveys. And then, you know, rap was grossly misunderstood. And Run DMC proved with their combination with Aerosmith that it was bigger than that. But then still, MTV probably thought that it was Aerosmith that was doing all the work.
Yo.
In 1988, MTV began an all-rap segment. It was an immediate success, showing that the audience for rap, like the audience for mainstream rock, now reached across barriers of color and class. But out of Los Angeles came a group with a video MTV refused to play. Their raps were heavy with tales of gang warfare and misogyny. They called themselves NWA, Niggas with Attitude.
Straight out of Compton is a crazy brother named Ice Cube. From the stupid dope gang with an attitude. When I'm caught off, I got a sword off. Kick knowledge and bodies all hauled off. You too, boy, if you get with me, the police are gonna have to come and get me off your back.
Accused of fomenting gang violence and sexism with their records, even warned by the FBI for their anti-police lyrics, these so-called gangster rappers, including future stars Ice Cube and Dr. Dre, maintained they were simply depicting life as it's lived on the streets of Los Angeles. While some rap producers seemed intent on testing the limits of decency, from the suburbs of Long Island came De La Soul. Their 3 Feet High and Rising album brought melody and humor to rap music, and a more optimistic worldview that grew out of their suburban experience.
Being here made us see just a different light. I mean, people in the Bronx might have seen, you know, crime on an everyday basis and might have seen problems within the community on an everyday basis. I think being out here just basically opened up our minds. We wasn't like cluttered with all the noise and all the crime and all the, you know, all the, I guess, things that every other rapper's talking about, yeah.
First album, you know, it was strictly on some experimentation. You know, that's the level it was. You know, we had our set, you know, theories, our set concepts we wanted to do, but if something happened, if you spilled milk on the turntable and it sounded dope, it just stayed. That's the way we operated.
But when it comes to being De La, it's just me, myself, and I. 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 Now you tease my plug one style and my plug one spectacles. You say plug 1 and 2 are hippies nowhere. Not that's pure plug bull.
With the first album, it reminded a lot of people of Woodstock, the 60s and all of that, and a lot of people felt that we were bringing back that era, which
We had nothing to do with it.
We had
We did
nothing,
not know anything about it.
I didn't know anything about it myself, you know. But if it reminded people of that, cool, you know, it's not a problem. I'm glad, you know. I mean, it brought back some memories for people, and they can get into our music behind that. You know, they had their own visual aspect of what De La Soul was all about, but hippies, we were not, you know.
People think they diss my person by stating I'm darkly packed. I know this, so I point at Q-Tip and he states black is
black.
Mirror, mirror on the wall.
Sampling from across the musical spectrum was another feature of De La Soul. But $1 million lawsuit by the Turtles, although settled out of court, would make them and others more cautious.
They've made such insignificant changes to the sound recording that it is still infringement as far as we're concerned, and they have violated our exclusive rights in the sound recording.
Quelle heure est-il?
Now you have to clear everything, whether it's a holler or a whole entire bar of a music. You know, your lawyer already you usually sit down with your lawyers at the beginning of your album, you know, the lawyer who works at the record company or whatever, and they'll tell you, well, at this present time, you know, what's his name? Herb Alpert. Herb Alpert don't like rap no more. He don't want you to sample from him. Don't touch his stuff. Or Herb Alpert's asking for $8,000 up front. Do you want to pay that? You know, they'll let you know what's going on. You get like basically this big sheet of who not to mess with, or you know if you're going to mess with them, you got to pay some dough, and it's on you to use it or not.
First you get your record, your rare groove or whatever sound that you choose to sample. Just, you know, try not to sample nothing that's going to get you sued. Place your record on the turntable.
While rap pioneers like Grandmaster Flash had used turntables twisted by hand to play short bursts of a record, groups like De La Soul used modern electronics to capture a small piece of a song.
Go to get your level. Sample is caught. You go to edit sample. To the channel you assigned it to. Turn your levels all the way up. And proceed to edit your sample to where you want to start it at. And there you have it.
When you got music that black people control and black people have something to at least show and say, you know, we're proud of what we're doing, it's always pimped and it's always turned into a money vehicle and it's always dried out. But I think because of the fact that we as the youth and as black people, we love rap, we love hip hop, and we're gonna do our best to keep it living.
In the 1980s in Detroit, a young DJ producer named Derek May took the electronic sounds of hip hop one step further. May and his colleagues used samplers and computers to generate long percussive dance tracks, an extension of what Kraftwerk had begun earlier in the decade. It came to be called simply techno.
Detroit techno was sort of a modern black man soul music, you see? The original stuff. It came from young black guys who had not much. A couple college guys, a couple regular guys, few guys with good musical taste, and they just simply had an idea. But it came from a black perspective, you see? And that's what made it very important. That's why it had that flavor. And it had a flavor. Indeed. I think what we do is influenced by so much soul music, and so many people here don't want to admit it. There is so much soul, so much deep history in the music, in what we do. And that's why we do it. We simply have access because it's all there on a computer. Computer has given us the opportunity to tap into history, you see, in a way that we never could do it before. And that gives us the opportunities to really create our own perspective of what we've been brought up with all our lives. Techno has informed every form of music. I had Depeche Mode in my house a few years ago. On my fucking living room floor. New Order. You know, I've had people come into my house just to knock on the door to hang out. They wanted to know what the fuck this music was. Basically. Where it came from. Who was doing it? How could you do it? At the same time, we always admired these type of people because they were, to us, pioneers.
The new techno sound was considered too avant-garde for the American mainstream, and once again, it was the Europeans who picked up on it.
I never really understood the way that with dance music, where people fought against it. I mean, even in America, when New Order used to go, there was a lot of resistance from you using sequences. Americans didn't like using sequences, which I thought was absolutely ridiculous. I mean, it's a machine, and it just does what you tell it to do. I mean, it has to be written by somebody.
I find the fact that a machine you can use a machine to create a piece of music, I find it very, very interesting. And I'd rather see a room full of machines coming out with a great dance track than some boring fat session musicians who are way past the sell-by date, playing music that is way past its sell-by date as well.
Through the 80s and into the 90s, electronic dance club music grew in sophistication. Club DJs, like their forerunners in the streets of the Bronx, became well known for their artistry at the mixing console, like Frankie Knuckles of a Chicago club called The Warehouse. Knuckles made songs more danceable by adding percussive intros, extending a song's length by several minutes, even changing the tempo.
Back in 1989, I was doing a remix for the Pet Shop Boys, Left to My Own Devices.
I could leave you, say goodbye.
And the song was like 138, 140 beats per minute, and they wanted me to do a house mix on it, and I just thought that was entirely too fast. And the only way I can do with it what I needed to do with it was I needed to slow it down.
Say goodbye, I could love you. If I tried, and I could, and left to my own devices, I probably would.
Knuckles helped popularize the dance music that grew out of 70s disco. It came to be known as house, after the Warehouse Club.
The first time I actually realized that house had become a worldwide, I guess, quote-unquote phenomena was with Madonna's Vogue. I just looked at that record and what it had done here in the United States, and I just thought, it's legit now.
Like Madonna's Vogue, many of the biggest hits of the late 80s emphasized danceability, fusing elements of disco, electro-funk, rap, and techno. Combining American hip-hop, British funk, and Jamaican bass lines, Soul to Soul topped the charts on both sides of the Atlantic in 1989.
That skinny man died of a big disease with a little name. By chance his girlfriend came across a needle and soon she did say.
The explosion of black dance music and its effect on rock and roll reached new heights through artists like Prince. He showed how a combination of melody and guitars, focal points of rock through the 60s and 70s, could now be combined with 80s dance revival and the often chilling, gritty lyrics of rap to give new life to rock and roll.
Times. Hurricane out and ripped the ceiling off the church and killed everyone inside. You turn on the telly and there they are the stories telling you somebody died. My sister killed her baby cause she couldn't afford to feed it and was sending people to the moon. September my cousin tried to reefer for the very first time. Now he's doing horse. It's June.
But even after this diverse wealth of sounds, some were still looking for the perfect beat. Approaching the 90s came bands like The Orb that would push the barriers even further with 15-minute soundscapes built with samplers, sequencers, and synthesizers, which seemed to sum up the musical adventures of the 80s.
In the earlier part of the 80s, there was still this undeniable urge to release records with choruses and verses, even with dance music. Fortunately, bands like Run DMC came along and, using a huge 808 bass sound, which no one had ever really heard as a bass drum before, recreated this whole new sound, which became the bass and drums, which to a lot of people who listen to reggae would be laughing, because to them that's what it was all about in the first place, was the bass and drums. Well, DJs took over the part of being the band without actually being seen as a band. You could again go to a club and become the band by dancing to the DJ's music. That's where the all started off. The mixing desk itself live has become another instrument with us, but it's used for two entirely different purposes. One is to make a completely different arrangement out of something that's been made in the studio in the first place. We then moved it forward and put a live drummer on stage with us to play through a mixing desk, and a live bass player and a live percussionist. Now we can start experimenting from just doing 12-minute takes to doing like 40-minute versions live, using technology and old instruments together.
The skies like when you were young?
They went on forever. We lived in Arizona, and the skies always had little fluffy clouds in them, and they were long and clear, and there were lots of stars at night. And when it would rain, it would all turn. They were beautiful, the most beautiful.
The feel I've had for music is just through being able to travel and finding different types of music. Anyway, but that's mainly that is a lot of influence for me. Music from around the world, be it from South America, be it from India, be it from Asia, be it from Africa.
And so the journey that Africa Bambaataa started at the beginning of the 80s continues on through time and space, with videos in the satellite age opening up influences from around the world, and computers allowing access to all musical history. Bambaataa's vision of a planet rock has become a reality. Rap, reggae, house, and techno have emerged from the underground to become part of the very fabric of contemporary music. Rock and roll has become a truly global phenomenon, reinventing itself for each new generation.
a production of WGBH, Boston. Funding for rock and roll is provided by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, the annual financial support of viewers like you. The Experience Music Project, a celebration of creativity and innovation through American popular music and culture, opening in Seattle in 1998. The National Endowment for the Arts.
Radio Shack, with its line of optimal